Amanda with Eat, Pray, Crunch, and as promised I am making a video about how to establish good healthy sleep habits starting with a newborn. I have a 4-week-old infant right now. Her name is Sophia. You can see her in some of my past videos. So I just wanted to talk about how we are establishing a sleep schedule with her. So first of all, I mean, there are so many theories out there, right, about like what is the right way to deal with sleep with infants, right? I feel like there are these polar opposite camps, right? There's like the attachment parenting side that says you should be co-sleeping with your baby in your bed, you should be meeting their every need, the child should be the one leading the schedule, or you should have no schedule at all. Then there's the other side, it's like the Ferberizing schedule, like the baby wise, right? Where it's very parent-led. The parent establishes the schedule and works on getting the baby onto that rigid schedule rather than the parent following the baby's lead, that kind of thing. So I feel like I fall right in the middle of these two camps. When I was a new mom, I was very intrigued by the whole attachment parenting idea. And you know, I toyed with the idea of co-sleeping. However, I ultimately decided that I didn't want to do that. Not because I don't think it's wonderful. I really think it can be, and I totally respect people that do that. And I actually do co-sleep when I nap with my baby during the afternoon, and that's really wonderful. And it's just, you know, having that special bonding time, sleeping together can be really nice when it's done safely. Of course, there are all the safety measures you need to do when you are bed sharing with a baby. But ultimately I decided, you know, and I have seen with a number of my friends who have done this, that when you start down that road, it's really hard to get the kid out of your bed later. And for us, that's not something that we really want. A lot of kids that end up bed sharing, it takes them a lot longer to start sleeping through the night. Just having, you know, the boob available to nurse at any time, having the open milk stand, you know, it creates that expectation, and it's, you know, not that that's a bad thing. If that's like what you want to do, then like that's totally cool. But for me, like, I really want to get back into getting a, you know, a solid night's sleep. And, you know, it's also nice to have your bed for you and your husband for obvious reasons. And I know that there are ways around that and everything, but that's just a boundary that we wanted to create. So, and at the same time, like, I don't feel like, you know, creating a rigid schedule that you know, baby must be on this schedule from day one, and baby must cry it out in order to get on this schedule. Like, I feel like there's a happy medium in there, you know? If you guys haven't read the book Bringing Up Bébé, it's about kind of the French way of parenting that most French people kind of follow, and it's just kind of deeply embedded in their culture. And so anyway, I don't agree with all parts of French parenting, but some of them it just makes so much sense to me. And when it comes to infant sleep, that is one of them. What they do is they observe their child from the beginning, and they start to just see what their natural biorhythms are and kind of create a schedule based on those. And the other pivotal thing, like, I feel like this is just like, this concept has changed my whole parenting philosophy in general, but especially with sleep, is this concept of the pause. And what the pause is when you don't jump to respond to baby right away. Like in the night, if baby makes some noises, you don't just like jump up and respond and nurse baby right away. You wait a minute and you listen and you see, okay, is baby really waking up? Or is she just, you know, kind of stirring a little in her sleep and kind of connecting sleep cycles and then going back to sleep? Because if we don't pause and we just jump up and start nursing baby, then that actually trains the baby to wake more in the night, if that makes sense. So, and granted, you know, if baby is really hungry, you know, he or she will let you know. You know, there's a difference between, you know, doing a little bit of fussing and then going back to sleep versus like waking up and like hangry and wailing. Like, obviously you respond and you know, feed baby then. But it's just more of like following baby's rhythms and not helicopter parenting your baby, you know, and letting them naturally kind of learn how to connect their sleep cycles. So this is like the perfect happy medium to me, right? Because it's following the baby's natural rhythms. It's not like rigid trying to get baby into this parent-led schedule. And there's really not a lot of crying it out involved with that either. I mean, baby fusses a little, but it's not crying it out per se. So I'm like totally on board with that philosophy. All of that said, I just wanted to tell you guys how we start establishing healthy sleep habits. So the first most important thing is just having a bedtime routine. It's really simple. I mean, it's just doing the same ritual, you know, day in, day out. And from the get-go, that really starts to help baby recognize, oh, we're doing this ritual, that means that it's sleep time. Every time we do this ritual, that means I'm about to go to sleep. So just being really consistent about that and approximately the same time every night. It took us a few weeks to kind of start doing this, but this week, in the 4th week, we've really started to do this. And you can check out my postpartum video to see exactly the timing of how we do that. But basically, after I put my son to bed, I do her bedtime routine and get her in her pajamas. And since she's still so little, we actually just bring her down with us. I cluster feed her for about an hour to kind of like get her belly really full, and then actually put her in the swing just so she can be with us since she's still so little. And then she will sleep like 4 hours like that. And then when we go to bed, we bring her up, do a little change just so she can get one change in the night. And then kind of cluster feed her again, and then I swaddle her. This is one of the main parts of the routine that I did with my son as well that really helped. Swaddling a baby makes them feel like they're in the womb again. It's really tight and cozy like they were in the womb. Both my son and my daughter love being swaddled, and they totally get that when they're swaddled it's sleep time. For when my husband and I go to bed, swaddle her and put her to sleep, and most of the time she will go to sleep. Anyway, the point is just having a simple bedtime routine that's consistent every night. So for us, that's nursing and swaddling, basically, and putting her in her co-sleeper by our bed. And another important thing is helping baby establish the difference between day and night. So really focusing on when you put baby down at night, even when we have her down with us early in the evening, we turn the lights off and have soothing music on. And you know, when we put her to bed with us, obviously we'd have the lights out, so it's dark. That, you know, is teaching her that darkness equals sleep. And when she sleeps during the daytime, it's like teaching her that nap time sleep during the day is different. We keep her in her clothes, you know, we have the lights on, we keep the blinds open, and we don't swaddle her. And so that kind of signals like, oh, daytime sleep is different from nighttime sleep. And kind of helps establish, you know, the difference between day and night. And the last thing I wanted to mention is something that I learned when I was a nanny. My first nanny job, I was pretty fresh out of college. I was 23 at the time, and I was a nanny for twin newborn girls. And I learned so much about baby care when I was a nanny for them. And one of the main things that stuck with me was the book, The Happiest Baby on the Block. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's by Harvey Karp. But he's a doctor that came up with the 5 S's. And these are 5 things that help babies calm down when they're upset and helps induce sleep with them. So the 5 S's are swaddling, like I mentioned, shushing, so like white noise, so saying shh, 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 and having like your volume of your shushing match the volume of their crying, if that makes sense. If they're crying really loud, then you shh, 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 you do it really loud, and if they're just kind of fussing, that's like more of a shh, shh, shh. But yeah, it's basically the idea of white noise helps them to sleep. And another thing we've done with that is we have a white noise machine. That really helped my son to really get into good sleep habits and kind of drowns out other noise in the house too. And then The third one is being on their side. Something about babies being on their side is very comforting to them. So you've swaddled them, you're shushing them, you put them on their side. The other thing is sucking. So either nursing, bottle, binky, it's a pretty well-known way to comfort a baby is for them to suck on something. And then the last one is swinging, which is basically, can be in a swing movement. When I learned how to do it, we did all of these things all together. So we swaddled the babies, we gave them their binky, we were shushing them, we'd put them on their side, like on our laps, and then we would kind of like rock them on our knees as they were kind of on their side on our laps. And so we'd do like all 5 S's at once, and it's like magic, people. You do these things with a brand new baby, and it's like it instantly calms them. It's quite something. And it worked with those twins that I nannied. Then I nannied another newborn a couple years after that. And then with my son it worked, and with my daughter it's working well too. So I am totally a fan of the 5 S's. Check that out. Actually, a whole website on the 5 S's, and I'll link that down below. So anyway, those are just some of the things that we are doing to help my 4-week-old daughter start to learn how to sleep through the night. And obviously it's not going to happen right away. Newborns do need to feed at least every 4 hours in the night at first. And then that stretch will start to slowly get longer and longer. I've heard some people theorize that, once baby gets to, like 11, 12 pounds, then that's when they are like big enough, they have enough fat stores on their body that they can actually make it through the night longer. Another thing that I did with my son, and I don't know if I'm going to do it this time around because it takes extra time, but what I did with him was every time after I nursed him, I would pump. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with how milk letdown works, but when a baby first starts suckling, it's like mostly water basically, so it quenches their thirst. And then as the longer they nurse, it actually gets more thick and more creamy and more fatty. So by the end of the feed, they're getting like the stuff that really sustains them, that fatty goodness. And so basically what I was doing is I would pump right after a feed, and it would just be that hind milk, or that thick, creamy, fatty milk. And I would do that after every feed throughout the day. And by the end, I would have a little, 5 ounces of just hind milk. Now, what we would do is I would feed this to my son right at bedtime. And in one day, he went from sleeping a 5-hour stretch a night to sleeping a 7-hour stretch just from giving him that. Because it was so fatty, it would like help it, it would satiate him for a long period of time, so he wouldn't wake up needing to nurse as frequently. And so anyway, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do it this time or not, because it takes so much time during the day, and being a mom of 2, I'm not sure if I have time to do that kind of thing now, but we'll see. I might try it. It did work wonders with my son, so we'll see. My husband called the little bottle of hind milk the baby knockout juice. I'll keep you guys updated if I end up doing that again this time. Anyway, so those are the main things that we do to help establish really good sleep. My son is a really good sleeper, so these things really did help him to become a really good sleeper. And my daughter now at this point at 4 weeks is doing like 4-hour stretches at night, so that's pretty good. So for us, these things are really working. Now, I know that not every baby is the same, and what we're doing might not work for somebody else, and different babies have different temperaments. Like both of my kids are really easygoing, and I'm sure that helps their night sleep as well. But I hope that these things, if you have a small infant, I hope that these things are, at least 1 or 2 of them are helpful for you. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm going to have a lot more videos like this coming up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.